Welcome back to Live Like It Matters, the podcast where I don't plan that much in advance. I bring in people that I really care about and we talk about really important things. We are heading into October, and so we are going to talk all about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but rather than just calling it blanket breast cancer awareness, I am referring to it as breast cancer unawareness, because I think that there are a lot of pieces within the breast cancer community that is not represented by the pink ribbon. So we're going to break through that, cut through the noise, and talk about some stuff that really matters. My guest today is someone that I love more than anything in the world. It's my husband, Eric Kalver. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I just waved to you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. In addition to being an extremely talented musician, composer, drummer, father, husband, you are an extraordinary caregiver. And so that's kind of the area that I thought we could really focus on today. I know we've talked so many times, of course, in the book. I've told people about you finding my lump and copping a feel more times than I can count.
The same.
Yes. But what I really want to get to today is talking about, like, here we are, 4 years later, living with metastatic breast cancer, and we're both living with it, right?
Yeah.
And so I would like to talk about the things people don't really talk about when it comes to being the husband of a wife that lives with a lot of uncertainty, which trickles down to the rest of our family. Mm-hmm. Is there a place where you'd like to start?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways we could start, but I guess we could start from the beginning, where when I did cop a feel and find it, I don't think it was something on my mind all the time about looking for breast cancer or looking for lumps, but it was so startling at the time that it was the first thing I thought of.
It was the first thing you thought of?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we've ever really discussed that, because I didn't. Remember, I was like, it's fine. It's probably nothing.
Yeah. Well, it was, you could feel it. You could feel the lump. And so I didn't necessarily go straight to breast cancer, where I was like, I correlated breast cancer to lumps, but I just didn't think that much about it. I just thought, that's something that wasn't there before.
Yeah, something's off.
Yeah. And so I think we went through that first month of like, it's fine, whatever. Like, just keep going, as we always do. Like, it'll just be a thing that we'll just double check. It's going to be fine. We'll just keep going. And then everything changed right before Ellie's birthday.
Yes. And that was when we found out that I did indeed have cancer. It wasn't until after Ellie's birthday that we found out it was stage 4.
Yes.
That's really where, we haven't really talked like this or thought about it, but had it not been stage 4, I most likely would not be in treatment right now 4 years later. The treatment I was on, the surgeries would have all been totally different. And of course, then it would have come with other realities and things throughout too, but we've really, it's our new normal, you could say, of living with the fact that, I just literally came from the doctor's appointment to sign authorization on the new clinical trial I'm starting.
Yeah.
And that's my 6th line of treatment that we've gone through.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hustling for 4 years. Just with everything we do, there's always an added, it's kind of like wearing a weighted vest when you go on a run or you're doing a workout. That's what it feels like in general. But we're so used to that vest that it doesn't really feel like much heaviness. We kind of just, sometimes when we tell other people what's going on and we list the whole things, it seems so normal to us, and everyone else is like, holy crap, that's a lot. Are you okay? I'm yeah, I mean, what else are we going to do?
Yeah. I
mean, the first month for me, the first few weeks was really hard, obviously on both of us, but I just went down this rabbit hole of what ifs. What if I'm raising an infant by myself? What if, our daughter doesn't have a mother? I went pretty dark, and luckily one of the therapists I talked to, and this is in the book, but I'll just state it here, she just said, okay, well, let's do those what ifs right now. What happens if this happens or if that happens? And we came up with plans B through Z of what do I do? And you would think that that's really dark to talk about, but you kind of have to do that now and visualize that in your head. So God forbid that ever happens one day. Well, at least I know where to start, and I'm not just in the darkness of it all. So it really helped me kind of move forward. And then when we saw that scan of the lights all over your body of cancer, I think that was another moment where, like you said it was hard to hear, but it was in the, just trying to be aware of the situation. Like, hey, Eric, like, we gotta move together as a team. Like, I know you're upset. You can be upset, but you need to jump in the front with me and like guide us through it together, right?
And knowing when we might need our own separate help too.
Yeah.
And not losing that, like, we're individuals too, going through similar things that are very different.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard sometimes to confide in the person that is going through the thing, because, like, as much as you want to be there for me, and this took 4 years to kind of get to this point of, like, you're my wife, you're my partner, I want you to talk back and forth with me, but you're like, I want to, but I mentally, emotionally, physically can't. Like, it's just not something I can handle right now. Not that I don't want to, it's just really hard to. And it took a bunch of times to kind of understand, like, okay, I get it. Like, we'll come back around to this, and we'll be able to talk. So, you have your help, I have my help, and we have a good support system, and we get through it. But 4 years in, it does feel kind of like, okay, yeah, what else?
Yeah, like, come at me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, a couple of things I really liked that you said there. One, that was extremely attractive, the just metaphor out of nowhere with the weighted vest. It was really nice.
Oh,
I liked that.
Thanks. I wouldn't equate that to that, but
I don't know. It's like
I'm
very
glad that
intelligent,
helped.
the way you just I've never heard you say that, so I thought that was cool.
I'm improvising just like you are.
I love it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think that with what you were explaining with going through those scenarios, it reminds me of like when Ellie was born. And this was before I was diagnosed, but we started doing our living trust. And we started talking about the things that you normally don't talk about. And by embracing that stuff, it actually became like its own conversation that wasn't reality. It was just knowing that you have that comfort in planning ahead. It also reminds me of when people are afraid to get scans, like, oh, I feel something, but I'm afraid it could be cancer, that. And it's like a lot of times talking through the what ifs or embracing it, even the worst case scenario, which in some ways is what we got served a bit, isn't all that bad when you can kind of navigate through that. Yeah. I'm going to go on a lighter caregiver note.
Okay.
But this is like a thing that, especially now that I'm starting in a clinical trial again where everything has to be so managed. From the very beginning, you have always been way better at knowing my medications than I have.
I'm very much a type A person of planning things out, and I'm a rule follower. So I think that's also what has helped you.
So do you think it's more your personality or the responsibility as a caregiver of like wanting to make sure that that piece is all set?
I mean, it's both, but I'm also type A with Ellie's homework.
Yes.
She's in kindergarten.
She's in kindergarten, and you're like stressing out because she hasn't like finished her like 15 minutes of homework.
Because I don't want to do it all the night before.
Yeah.
And that's something that was instilled in me growing up. Like, I was telling Ellie that, if I had homework for the weekend, my parents would be like, well, do it today. It's Friday. And like most kids are like, why? Like, I want to enjoy the weekend. But honestly, because I was more prepared on the Friday, then I had the rest of the weekend to do whatever I wanted. So for Ellie, I'm trying to instill in her, like, just do a little bit every day.
Yeah.
That way we don't need to do it all on Thursday.
And this is where we're a good team. Because I'm probably on the opposite end of the spectrum of how I handled homework
a little
throughout my life. Yeah.
That's okay.
We're good balance.
Opposites attract.
Exactly. So with the pill stuff, because I remember saying, it was like you not only knew the timing more, and sometimes it would get frustrating because it'd be out and you'd like text me like, did you take your meds? I'm like,
because I had my app
exactly.
of all the medications reminding me with alarms, and I had to text you when I was at work or something like that.
But I'd say the most critical times is when you remember my symptoms and side effects.
Oh, yeah.
A lot better than me. And I think that it's not just about remembering it. It's that when I get sucked into a certain feeling, it's easy to forget the real things that are going on.
Oh, yeah. Like, something will happen, and I remember exactly when this happened the last time, and you're like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling great. I'm like, yeah, what is it? Saturday? Yeah, it's Saturday.
About time.
Yeah, I'd say by Monday you'll be a little better. Tuesday you'll be even better.
Yeah.
And it changes with each one because we've changed how many times now with
This
the
is
treatment?
about to be, I think, the 6th.
That's what I thought.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the sixth time, and so every time I have to take an inventory myself of like, all right, Thursday's the day. She always says, I feel fine. There's no problems. And then Friday is like, oh, I don't feel great today. I'm like, yep, I know. And then Saturday through Sunday, I'm like figuring things out to not distract Ellie, but keep her busy of like, mommy's going to be tired all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll go do this or that. And then by like Monday or Tuesday, you're feeling a lot better. And then a week and a half goes by and it's right before the next treatment. You're like, oh, I'm not feeling great. I'm like, yep. It's about that time.
Well, and I'd say the more time that's passed, like now we're in years into this, there's emotional components that pop up for me too.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden I'll be like, I'm just feeling like really down or like, ugh, like this. And you'll be like, yeah, you're going to feel better in like 48 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So having that reassurance, I mean, of course, you're always there to support me too, but that helps me so much because you'd think like, oh, well, this is what we did 3 weeks ago when you had the last infusion. But our minds and our bodies can trick us, and it's hard without you reassuring me.
I think with my type A personality and a little humor, we could add some events in the calendar of emojis that show like, you're going to be good on this day.
Oh, have you thought about this?
I thought of it.
Oh,
and then
a good
like
brainstorm
there'll be
sesh.
like a throw up emoji and then there'll be
Hopefully not.
hearts on that. Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah,
but
but
I'm just
totally.
saying that would be a
Yeah.
good thing for you. Like, oh, I'm going to be happy today. I'm not going to be good today.
Well, because the thing with it being metastatic disease is that anything that happens feels like it's like forever. You know, even if it's not, it just feels so indefinite.
Yeah.
This clinical trial I'm really excited about being on Herceptin that we've been on and off of for a while now is such an amazing drug. And then a new type of targeted therapy that's oral. I think that they're hopefully, like as long as it works, there shouldn't be any throw up emojis. My hair can keep growing. Everyone, because I went to Santa Monica today.
They haven't seen you in a while.
They haven't seen me in a while.
Yeah.
And it was cool that they remembered me because it's been over,
What, year and a half?
I think
2
over
years?
a couple of years. Yeah.
Something like that.
And they're like, oh my God, your hair is so beautiful and all this. And those are the kinds of people I know, like within the cancer community, sometimes we're like, okay, don't compliment my hair, that, you know, different things. That's like where it's like, hey, my oncology nurses, like I want all the compliments, all the things from them. They are like my heroes.
Yeah.
Like we've always just had, I just feel like oncology is built a certain way that they're designed to make us feel just like so comfortable. They're so attentive.
Yeah. And also are shocked when you say how many things you're doing before and after the treatment you're at.
Yeah. When I'm putting up like my camera and recording something at chemo.
Yeah, or like, oh yeah, I'm just, you know, we're leaving for the East Coast tomorrow for a golf tournament we're running. Or like, you know, just saying all these crazy things. They're like, wait, you literally just had an infusion.
Yeah.
You're going to do that? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And I appreciate that, you know, well, you're always looking out for me. You know what things help me versus what's too much.
Yes, there is a limit to you. There is a limit. I just don't think you see that limit.
The limit does not exist.
The limit doesn't exist, but it
Yeah,
also
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And I try my best not to tell you no. It's just more like, hey, quality versus quantity. Like, maybe you should slow down a sec.
Do you feel though that since, I mean, I've always been
You've always been that way. That's not just.
but it's definitely
this.
been, you know,
Yeah.
emphasized throughout the past few years. Do you feel like that's also happened with you? Like since we being diagnosed, I mean, I see it, so I'd love to hear your
Oh yeah,
perspective.
for sure. I mean, pre-pandemic, pre-Ellie, pre-all this, we were always going hard.
Yeah.
Always. And like just busy every weekend. I was taking gigs most weekends. And I think over the past 4 years with Ellie and with you, it's been way more about quality and not quantity because I don't want to miss these moments of being with you and Ellie and taking care of you two and just like relaxing, which is a weird thing to say. I don't think we're people that can just sit still. We're not, because I was listening to some interview about like vacation people that don't sit still. Like, we're not ones to go on a beach and just lay in a beach chair.
Yeah.
Like, we want to do things.
Was this a video of people paddleboarding in like frozen?
No,
Okay.
it was an interview with someone else.
I saw something similar.
Yeah, like, we are people who, if we go on vacation, like, we need to do something while we're on vacation, not just like sometimes we do chill and hang out. But
I think we've been pretty good at chilling like this past month.
Well, we've had some things kind of slowing us down.
We were forced. We got COVID and certain things.
Yeah.
But I think that you've leaned into a bit more of like being okay with slowing down in certain scenarios. I catch, Eric's the type who like, I don't nap. I'm not a napper.
Oh,
and I don't need a lot of sleep. But every so often, you've taken a nap.
I get a little tired.
Yeah, and you've embraced that. And I think it's amazing. I mean, and it's shocking that you don't more. You wake up at like 4:30 in the morning to go run and marathon train and all this stuff.
Yeah, I've explained to people that 4:30 to 7 a.m. is my time. That's dad time. Because that's the one time where no one needs me. Everyone's still asleep and I can do whatever I want. So if I want to go for a run at 5 a.m., I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great. And then I'll get everything I need to get done. And then I'm basically becoming that dad where they're like, oh, dads always wake up at 5 a.m. and then they fall asleep at 4 in the afternoon. Like, I'm not falling asleep at 4, but I've embraced that.
You have more energy and endurance than anyone I've ever met. Like, I know that the amount that you take on, and I know I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate it, but it's like, I mean, I can't, if there's a time where I'm just like tired, I can't do more. But like you can. It's really, and you shouldn't have to, but it's amazing that you do. I'm very grateful for that.
Well, thank you. I don't require much sleep. And I just get excited to do the things I want to do. Like, I like organizing around the house. I like to run. I like to work on music. Like I've said before, like running, I love running as much as I love music. And that's a really scary thing. It's a big statement because that means I'll never stop doing it, which I know we've talked about, like, when are you done with these marathons? And we'll see. Yeah. But if I love something, I just keep doing it. I'm still the 5-year-old who loves Star Wars, Batman, Godzilla, running, and music.
I love you for that.
Yeah.
So something I've thought about, as we're in October and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I remember when I was first diagnosed, it was kind of like, because we're like on-brand people, right? Like when I had the gym and we'd wear tap out all the time and these things, and so it was like, I remember getting diagnosed and us figuring out like where our like branding fell, like how are we supporting each other? Like I remember you were so sweet and got me the pink or like Enzo, the rubber ring.
The rubber rings.
Yeah, because my fingers were swollen, so I could wear that for a while.
We were all about pink for like 2 months.
Yeah, because I kind of like felt like we had to be.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were kind of like, okay, so like, does this mean like where's our identity now?
It was like a sponsorship. Yeah. Like you're signing as a player on a team, like, oh, well, they do Nike, so I guess we're Nike, or oh, we're Adidas, and ours was pink.
And I think that the reason why we're that way is because we really gravitate to community.
And like, swag.
And swag. Yeah. Love swag, obviously.
Swag first.
Yeah.
Community second.
Because there's pictures of us, like at my infusions, me wearing like a tough mom one, and you being like, my wife's fight is my fight. These things. And it's funny because now, like, that's the opposite of what we would wear. We don't do that. And nothing wrong either way. It's just,
we're kind of embracing the, like, we're doing this now and we're wearing this thing to represent that we support each other in this.
And that's why I don't fault people for the way that there is, some pink washing is for corporate profits and marketing purposes, and it's not done with the right intentions.
Right.
But a lot of it for normal people is like, we just went into what we thought was like normal ways to support people with breast cancer.
Well, it's like wearing a concert shirt. Mm-hmm. Like when you first see a band and you're so excited, you wear the concert shirt, and then as you see them a lot, you're like, okay, I don't want to be the person wearing the concert shirt anymore. Like, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to prove I'm a fan. It's like, we don't need to prove that we're fighting breast cancer. Like, we're doing
it. Yeah. Well, and I think we've had this time, and a lot of it probably because of the nonprofit initiatives and all of that. It's almost like we've like taken our own take on what cancer, and more specifically breast cancer, looks like. And I think that's why October is like always a little conflicting for me. And I think a lot of survivors, thrivers, and patients in general in the breast cancer community. But it's also a time that I'm kind of grateful that there is so much awareness on like surface level, right? Everyone knows pink, the pink ribbon. October is the time that we can get more PR, or other things, even though we got this is for all types of cancer. Since having breast cancer, it's a more likely story. But I think that that's where the unawareness doesn't come up. Because, we learned early on that only 2% of the breast cancer funds for research go to stage 4.
Right.
Yet nearly 100% of deaths happen in stage 4. So it's when I learned those statistics, those were the first things. Like 1 in 8 women are going to get breast cancer. A third of them in earlier stages are going to end up in stage 4. We were in stage 4 right from the beginning at 34 years old with no family history. It's crazy. And then from that, 99% of deaths are happening in stage 4 because of it spreading beyond the breast. Yet 2 to 5% of funding goes there. And I don't know about you, but it's like once you're hearing that, you feel so like either do they think we're a lost cause? Or, why is this happening? Is it just more fun to talk about saving the tatas than it is about saving our lives? And I feel like a lot of what I'm trying to accomplish with this month and these conversations is bringing the awareness around the parts that people are unaware of. And not in a way that's like, you should know this because I didn't know it. You didn't know it before either. Yeah. But in a way that like, maybe if we can be more comfortable talking about things that are scary, it doesn't have to look so scary.
Right. I mean, I think with your posts, you really simplify a lot of things that people are really picking up on it. And before, like if you just heard the statistic, it sounds scary and you're like, you don't want to think about it or talk about it. But when you simplify it, people are listening, right? Yeah. We've had plenty of friends who have seen your posts and have gotten checked because of it. And thank goodness for those posts and that awareness that they would have never even thought of it, like in the way that like, not that I've been thinking about breast cancer for 16 years with you, but like something in my head just kind of clicked when I felt your lump. It's like, if you don't hear enough about it, then you'll never know. So it's absolutely right.
Totally. Yeah. And then after that, the amount of people who got things checked and it ended up being nothing, or some that it did end up being something. Yeah. Those are the pieces that if we don't talk about it, people aren't going to know. Yeah. What would be your, like, you can do one thing or a few things over the past 4 years that you've learned as a caregiver that, would be advice for other people? And I'll say, I know early on, like it was really helpful if you had more people to talk to, resources, things like that, which I think we're continually learning more about. But, you're the invisible patient for sure.
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, we were on I was on this weird island of circumstances being a first-time caregiver, of like having a 1-year-old. We were renovating our home. COVID was rampant. It was like a really hard time to even see other people or talk. Like, sure, we could talk on Zoom, but like, I just didn't have anyone. I felt very isolated.
You couldn't even come into every infusion with me.
No, I couldn't. And then I jumped into a new job too. That was pretty crazy because I just had a lot to do. So it was like, I just had to keep moving. And I think I consumed myself in my work to just not be distracted and go into a darker hole. But I do wish I had more of a community. And not to say that it doesn't exist. Like there are groups that exist and I just haven't gone to it yet because I've been so busy. But I wish I had known more about that in the beginning so I could have a little more support. And then once in a while, like over the years, I meet other partners who have partners who go through it, and then we get to talk. Or like, even if it's not cancer, if their partner has or is immunocompromised or has something that they like, then I can talk to them and understand, like be on the same page.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like, I always think of this when we post about events or things like that. Like, I usually don't go to something just because I saw someone I know post about it. Usually I'm going because like we've directly talked about it.
Yeah.
And so I think of that like, yes, there are things you could have looked into for caregivers, but I think that you would have felt more comfortable if it was a direct referral from someone you knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like with Ellie, right? Like she went to that summer camp this summer for like a little bit, and she didn't know anyone there, and she's so young, so it was like kind of hard for her to jump into that camp knowing no one. But then if she went to another camp where she directly knew someone, then she could meet everyone else and feel more comfortable, kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah. And like knowing that like, oh yeah, this will be worth the time, or because it's also like you don't want to end up going to a bunch of things that aren't a right fit, and then that might discourage you from really attempting to do things.
Right.
And it puts the burden of the research on you too. I tell the story.
I know what you're gonna say.
Well,
I knew
we'll
exactly.
skip through the hyperventilating into the paper bag.
We've talked. That's in enough books and posts and everything.
Yeah. But this was when I found out that it had spread throughout my body, and they handed us that folder, and I still have the pink copy paper that said the resources. And it's just, it comes at such a time that you can't absorb it. It's on a piece of paper, so I would then need to go, like, not that it's a ton of effort, but it is when you're going through so much stuff, of then looking it up, figuring out how that can relate to me. So I think that's been a big thing, especially recently with wegotthis.org, is adding that resource directory has been a hope of mine since the beginning. And now we have a section that you can click for caregivers or financial support or retreats. I know we need to look into, Dear Jack does that we can go together as a couple.
That'd be cool.
So I love that they added that. And I think that's because Andrew's wife actually started that initiative.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, those are the things that I don't think would exist unless, unfortunately, people go through it and they're like, wow, this is a gap that we need to fill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it would have been super helpful back in the day, but I think over the years I just had to keep training my mind and us talking and just kind of figure things out. And now it's just the norm, and like, sure, I could still talk to people. It'll be nice. Overall, like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
But it would be super helpful if I had that in the beginning.
Well, this was fun. I feel like
we're done.
No. Oh. What I wanted to talk about, well, because now my wheels are turning, and it's like, there's so many things I want to talk.
Because you ramped up with this was fun.
Okay. It was my brain at work, because I'm like, okay, there's so much more I want to talk about. I feel like I didn't think about this till now, but like, you need to be like a regular guest. Like, I think that we should maybe, and we can even decide together, like on some of those topics, because, there is so much too to go through with Ellie and how she's grown up through this. But then there's also a lot about us that have nothing to do with cancer. That's pretty cool. So I feel like,
well, I was thinking about, because in the past few episodes you've asked, like, what's a crazy thing you're thinking about? And I think you've always been the crazy one between the two of us. I think we always compare ourselves to Carl and Ellie in Up.
Yeah.
Because Ellie, when they're younger, she's always the adventurous one and doing things, and Carl's the cautious, like, I'm not sure. I think that has been us for a while. I think I've evolved a bit since then.
We've both rubbed off on each other.
Yes, but you've always been the crazy one that has done something that's sometimes not that crazy, but just unexpected at like the age we're at or the point of life we're at. And so I just think about, like, you've always been the one that's pushed the craziness, and I feel like by now, 16 years in, I've embraced the craziness of, like, which is why when you were in the middle of chemo and feeling miserable, and you said to me, like, I want to start something.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised here.
Yeah.
Like, just like the vacation thing, like, you can't ever sit still with anything we're doing, whether it's, going through the hardest thing of your life or having a vacation. You're like, I just can't sit here. Like, there's something I have to do.
Or if there's something like an idea or something we want to do, it's like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think you give yourself enough credit, because when you think about the way we met, so the cliff notes here is that we worked at the Apple store together on Boylston Street in Boston when you were at Berklee College of Music and I was at Babson College. And we were just acquaintances, moved to LA separately. I saw on social media that you were moving here and just like reached out, like not hitting on you, just I moved here, booked a one-way ticket, have some friends trying to expand my network and stuff. And then you also, though, like, you just drove cross country. Yeah. We moved here without a job too. Like, that craziness, I consider that one of the craziest things I ever did. And you did. Yeah. Mine was even a little less crazy because I hopped on a flight and shipped my car.
You decided to, like, what was, when you figured out you should move to LA and when you did it, what was the amount of time like, was it
A couple weeks.
a couple weeks before you graduated?
Yeah.
And okay, so like I had a little bit more time, just a little bit, because I decided 2 months before I graduated that I was gonna do it. But like that's just crazy that you just, because what would you have done? I don't think I even know this answer. What would you have done if you did not move to LA?
That's a good question. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about that.
Because that's a
yeah.
very short time that you made that decision.
I probably just would have ended up doing more like corporate sales stuff right from the get-go.
In Boston.
In Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would have stayed in Boston. By coming out here, I spent a year working in the music industry, which is funny because I was in music publishing when you were out here, which wasn't really what I moved to LA to do. I really was like interested in production management and some things like that. But and I don't say everything happens for a reason, but like we were definitely drawn to be in LA together.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been in LA over 16 years, and it feels, I mean, it's home, right? And I mean, we're raising our daughter here. She's a Valley girl.
She's definitely a Valley girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Because I never asked you that question because we never thought of it. But yeah, it is pretty crazy to just get up and go 3,000 miles away. I mean, I'm sure people do that all the time, but at that time, like,
Yeah.
we were still in college. It was a year after the recession started, and we didn't really have that. We didn't feel that effect because we're college kids about to move. So
Yeah.
like there's never a good time to do something crazy. You just do the crazy thing and you have to figure it out along the way.
Yeah. And I felt like that was one of the coolest times ever with like no real expectations. And that's the example, like I was saying, how you just can do so much. Like you hustled. I mean, the second you got to LA, like you were doing extra work, whatever, part-time assistant work. I mean, I knew that you would be successful because you just don't stop either. And in a different maybe way that we like balance each other out. And I think sometimes we remind each other of like, it doesn't always have to be just about work or this. You do a great job at getting me like put my phone down and all those kinds of things. But I think you've always been that way. It's just we've kind of grown into these like maybe realizing like, yeah, well, that worked out when we did it. Let's try that again. And not everything works out.
Right.
But it's like we're not shocking each other.
No.
Yeah.
I think we've been similar in that way, but I think you brought out even more of that out of me than I ever had before.
Yeah.
You know, I think you gave me more of the confidence to believe in myself, to try those crazy things and like do something, because like I'm a picky eater.
Yeah.
And sometimes like with that, I'm much better now 16 years later, but with that you kind of get
I helped with that.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
But like you kind of get stuck in your ways when you're kind of picky, and you've kind of expanded. Like even in the past like 3 days, like truly, like I've even expanded more. Like you realize I had actual sushi the other day.
I'm so proud of you. I love sushi. I'd say it's my favorite food. And you never liked it, but you've always been on board. Like if that's what I wanted, you would still go and get
like I'd figure it out. I
shrimp
wouldn't
tempura or
just
something
like
else.
be like, no, we're not doing that. But like I'd eat shrimp tempura sushi, which is the chicken fingers of sushi.
Yep.
And then I've expanded a little bit more to spicy tuna and some other things, and that's kind of a big deal. And then like I don't like swimming. I don't like going underwater. And then yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go underwater in our pool and grab all the rings and mermaid toys that Ellie usually gets, and I just kept going back and forth. I'm like, oh, this is pretty fun.
I mean, I think that in little ways is what we're saying. Of like now we're like, well, hey, we want to do this. Let's do it. Like we want to go visit Paris and Frank in Portugal. We booked a flight, had my mom come out, and we did it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's exciting. I think that what we should try to do, because, you know, this whole podcast I'm kind of making up as we go, is every time that we do one of these full days, you know, at DSP Studios with Drew and his crew, we should try to do another episode of me and you. And we should decide, like, how that's going to evolve each time.
I think that works.
Yeah.
I think going back to craziness, just being back here, thinking about the day when you were like, we're going to do an 8-hour live stream.
Yeah.
And I lightly freaked out because this was 3 weeks before. I was like, Alyssa, like, you want to put on a show. Like we're putting on like a Tonight Show and you're just going to wing it. And I was so impressed. I'm always impressed with you, but I was so proud of you that day because I spent like all night making cue cards for you. For every,
like, you don't need to produce me.
And I was like, but like, what if you forget like who you're about to see? And I made all these cue cards with like 3 bullet points for each person. And you're like, yeah, thanks, Eric. Never looked at it once. And I'm like over there on the podium, just kind of like giving you the clock. And it was like one of the most fun days I've ever had with you because it felt like producing a late night show with you, and you just killed it. And like you're so good at doing this stuff on the fly, and I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. I love you so much.
Love you too. Yeah. So yeah, we can do more of these episodes, and you're gonna organize a topic for each episode.
Well, we can decide together.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, each batch I've kind of created, like the first one was the crazy ideas.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we're gonna have to touch on that a lot, though. I love hearing people's crazy ideas.
Yeah. What do you think your craziest idea has been over the years?
What do you think it's been?
I think the gym. I think the gym was the craziest one.
The gym was definitely the riskiest.
Yeah.
And owning a gym took over our life at a time that, like, luckily it was then, not like now with Ellie and other stuff.
To clarify, like, we owned a boxing gym.
Yeah, we owned a boxing gym, opened it, having never run a brick and mortar business before, but kind of always in the back of my mind.
Which you did during a difficult time as well for you. That, like, instead of just sitting, you're like, no, I'm going to do something to keep things going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was right after Josh passed away, my brother. And, yeah, you know, it was so crazy and it was so stressful. But then I'm like, if I could rewrite history and, like, change that, I mean, I definitely wouldn't. Even though, I mean, there's things I wish were a little different, like with stress levels and stuff. But I mean, think about like the lifelong friends we have now from that.
Oh, I definitely don't regret.
Yeah, no, I know. I
wasn't
suggesting that you do, but like,
it was the craziest thing we'd ever done.
It was the craziest thing,
because
yeah.
to bring that up in normal conversation, like, never in my life would I have thought that I would have opened a gym or owned a gym.
Well, especially, I mean, you grew up more.
I grew up non-athletic.
Yeah.
At all. But then coming out here, you know how I started running, right? Because I was trying to look in the best shape possible when I was going to propose to you. You know, that's why I started running.
I did know that, and I forgot that.
Yeah, because I thought, I'll just do this. Oh, it says a 100-calorie run that takes 10 minutes. Like, sure, I'll do that. And then I just kept going and going, and then kept more obsessive with it.
Yeah,
and then
you love it.
Now I love it. But that's the reason why I started. So
well, we're good for each other, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, the gym was nuts.
It's pretty crazy.
But I mean, I got one of the best quotes of all time for my website.
Yes.
That Shaquille O'Neal said I was hot in front of you.
I talked about this on the Glozell episode.
That's right. Yeah.
Because Glozell was, I mean, I don't blame you, Glozell. She just wanted to make sure that my attractive husband, you know, knows how attractive he is.
Shaquille O'Neal knows too.
Shaquille O'Neal knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some cool stuff at the gym and in life.
Yeah.
Maybe for next time, we should each come up with a topic to ask each other.
Okay.
Let this all marinate, and then we'll be back in touch with it.
I'll put it on my to-do list of all the things we have to do.
Yeah. Thank you for being, you know, along for the ride in October. It's definitely like a busy season for, you know, me personally, for the nonprofit and all that stuff, and you've been endlessly supportive. So I'm excited we're getting to do more of this now, dragging you into, you know, having to talk more, which you never wouldn't. We just, again, like, had I not just been like, hey, Drew, can we just come record for 6 hours? I'm going to knock out a bunch of podcast episodes, figure it out.
Yeah. Well, we also don't stop and talk about this stuff. Like, we have to do a podcast to talk about it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we do, but it's so ingrained in our life that we don't just stop and think about it. We just kind of do it.
I think that we don't stop and celebrate, like, how amazing we are together, individually. Like, that's the piece, is like, we communicate, and that's how we get through stuff so well. But we never stop and are like, hey, you know, that time you did this, or like the fact that you do this, that's amazing, you know, and we should
Yeah.
more.
Okay.
I love you.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Love you too.
All right.
Now is this wrapping up?
It's wrapping up. So what's going to start now is the music that you custom wrote for
That
the
I wrote.
podcast is going to start easing in.
Cool.
It's going to fade out.
Cool.
And
Should
come
we
give you
fade
a
out our
kiss.
voices as we... Love you.